And here's Chris Berman.
So many of the great San Francisco 49ers. Although they will always be Niners, so many of them did not play their whole career in the Bay. Bryant Young did. His 14-year career on the defensive line was really, if you think about it, in two parts. Drafted 7th overall in the first round in 1994 out of Notre Dame, he came to a star-studded team that was a perennial Super Bowl contender, having won 4 of them, in case you forgot, in the 1980s. Yet, the previous 4 seasons when Bryant was drafted, they didn't get back. 1994 for San Francisco was a return to the top. The Niners beat 2-time defending champion Dallas in the title game en route to crushing the San Diego Chargers in Super Bowl 29. Bryant Young became a part of a, compared to the offense, unheralded defense that had a large part in the 49ers going 61-19 in his first 5 years as stalwart on the defensive line. But on Monday Night Football on the last night of November of 1998, Bryant suffered a gruesome injury against the Giants. He fractured his tibia, fractured his fibula. Multiple surgeries ensued. A titanium rod was inserted, and thoughts of maybe even, does the leg have to be amputated, were discussed. To walk normally, let alone play football again, would be tough, even for this toughest of the tough. Yet came the 1999 season, and there he was back with the Niners. He played every game, every one of them. 9 sacks the second half of that season, NFL Comeback Player of the Year, and he played 8 more years after that, all in San Francisco. He never touted his own horn. Part of his enshrinement today is due to the words of many of the offensive linemen that played against him. They wrote the Hall and said, "You got to let him in." The Niners' Len Enshrinement Award, for those that don't know, is given for inspiration, for courage, and for outstanding play. BY won 8 of them. Nobody else has won more than 2. His presenters today, daughter Kai, and the longtime and Hall of Fame owner of the Niners, Eddie DeBartolo Jr.
When you walked into the stadium, the fans were ready. The energy, this was it. We had to go out there and win it.
The amazing quickness of Bryant Young.
A tremendous defensive force this year for the 49ers.
Bryant Young was more than a star defensive tackle. He is one of the best defensive players in the 49ers' storied history. His standout career in San Francisco began in 1994, when the team selected the Notre Dame prospect with the 7th overall pick in the draft.
I remember being in the draft room, and there wasn't any question. He was absolutely a consensus pick. And I knew how good he was because I followed his career really closely at Notre Dame. In college, they tried to double team this man, and it was impossible. He was just too determined.
How bad do you want it today?
It's really interesting just hearing stories from teammates and coaches and people that kind of knew him earlier on. They always speak about what an intense and kind of like the quiet leader he was on the field.
If Bryant Young could play against the Rams every week, he would have already been inducted in the Hall of Fame.
Young lived up to the hype immediately. His rookie season was highlighted by 6 sacks, 49 tackles, a 3rd-place finish in the NFL AP Defensive Rookie of the Year voting.
He was a monster. The teams double-teamed him. They even tried to triple-team him at times. But this guy was so strong, he would move people around. He'd carry people on his back.
Most notably, key contributions in the 49ers' victory in Super Bowl 29.
Big rush, down he goes. Give him BY again, Bryant Young.
we ended up in the Super Bowl. He was a big part of it.
Bryant's 4 career Pro Bowl nods are a reflection of not only his immense talent, but also his leadership.
We tried to have the players on that team feel like they were part of our family. And I think that Bryant personified that.
I love you guys, man. I just want to say that.
Everybody's kind of a family there. It worked out so well, him being on the team and playing for them for so long, just because they shared the same values.
In 1998, Bryant was leading all defensive tackles with 9.5 sacks when a devastating Week 13 leg injury ended his season and nearly his career.
Not only was the injury horrible, but they thought there was a chance that he was going to lose his leg. But not Bryant Young. Bryant Young came off of that injury, rehabbed himself, came back to play the next year.
When he returned in 1999, he quickly regained his dominant form with 11 sacks, over 40 tackles, another Pro Bowl trip, and the NFL's AP Comeback Player of the Year award.
The fact that he was able to come back from that injury and then also go on to accomplish all that he did after that is something that I'm really proud of him for. One of my biggest memories that is still really vivid in my mind to this day would be his last game before he retired. I remember his teammates carrying him off the field on their shoulders at the end of the game.
He was in a class by himself. They just don't make those types of players anymore, those types of people. Not only a great, great player, but a great man.
Right into the hands of Bryant Young. What a key play.
I'm honored and privileged to present my dad, Bryant Young, for enshrinement into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Bryant Young for enshrinement into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Hall of Famer Eddie DeBartolo Jr.
Mr. D and Kai, thank you for serving as my presenters. I'm grateful to the Hall voters and humbled to join the 2022 class and 29 former 49ers who preceded me. I proudly wore gold throughout my career. I'll cherish this jacket for the rest of my life. Today, for me, is about faith, football, and family. My wife, Kristen, and I met at Notre Dame. We've been together 31 years, and what a journey. 6 kids, careers, injuries, life-altering losses. Kristen, my partner in all things, co-heir in Christ. You embody much of what this jacket and this day represents. Sacrifice, selflessness, integrity. I love you so much. 5 of our children, Kai, Kennedy, Bryce, Camille, and Bo, are here. They're tight-knit. You should see our family's text thread, which we call Fam Bam. Kids, I admire your courage, determination, maturity, and resilience. You inspired me to be the best version of myself. I'm proud to be your dad. I love you. My father, Tommy, is here with his wife, Charlotte. He served the Army, Peace Corps, his church, and 38 years for Ford Motor Company. Dad, thanks for sharing your wisdom, planting a spiritual seed, living humbly, and showing me the meaning of hard work. I love you. To my older brothers, my biggest cheerleaders, I'm proud of our bond and your bravery. Tim, your recovery from cancer. Carlos, your service in Operation Desert Storm. I love you both. Our mother, Alice, passed away in 2020. She had an innate sweetness, warm smile, and her own unspoken love language, cooking for family friends and successfully overcoming personal challenges. Mom, I think of you often, and I hope you are smiling today. I love you. Our extended family and friends have been a constant, comforting presence in my life. I wish time permitted me to name you all. My love for you runs deep. Thank you. I deeply respect our game and want to thank some of the many who supported me along the way. Although I thought I'd make a fine fullback, my high school coaches at Bloom in Chicago Heights, they put me where I belong, in the trenches. At Notre Dame, Lou Holtz preached trust, care, and commitment. Team over individual, we over me. Aaron Taylor, my college teammate, became much more. My best man, brother for life. I was fortunate to be drafted by and play for the 49ers, a championship organization led by competitive, compassionate owners. Mr. D, Candy, John, Denise, Jed, thank you for all the love, kindness, and generosity you've shown. I was fortunate to work with strong coaches. George Seifert challenged me to elevate my play. So did Steve Mariucci, who kept us focused during playoff seasons and the rebuild. Position coaches Dwayne Board and Dan Quinn were honest, fair, and supported me in good times and bad. There isn't time today to properly honor teammates, some sitting here feet away. All I say for now is I never, ever wanted to let you down. Thank you. To my opponents, utmost respect. It meant a lot to learn that several offensive linemen I faced over the years spoke up for my candidacy. Thank you so much. Finally, the 49er faithful. Let's win another Super Bowl. Football also brought adversity. During a November 1998 game, as you just saw, versus the Giants, my right leg was badly broken. There were complications. I could have lost my leg. I fought back, playing another 9 seasons. But while dealing with the injury, Kristen was pregnant with Kai. Few knew it at the time. Rather than being cared for, Kristen was caring for me. My vulnerability and loss of control were disorienting. I learned some things about trusting God, living with doubt, accepting help. We passed a test, but another loomed. I've introduced 5 of our children. Now I'd like to let you meet Kobe. Born in August 2001, Kobe loved life. He had an infectious smile, many interests, including football. He was a happy kid. In fall 2014, when he was 13, Kobe started having headaches. A CAT scan revealed a brain tumor. Kai had just had knee surgery and deserved our full attention, but our focus and hers shifted to Kobe. 5 days later, surgeons removed the tumor and told us it was cancer. Kobe was back at school 8 days later. His spirits were good. He had the heart of a lion. My injury seemed trivial. Knowing radiation would weaken him, doctors told Kobe to give up football. It absolutely broke his heart. He turned the page and focused on basketball. The treatments were hard. Kobe showed immense courage. He felt good for months. We really were hopeful. The following October, Kobe said, "Dad, I have a headache." The cancer was back. Doctors tried immunotherapy, but it had spread too far too fast. Kobe sensed where things were heading and had questions. He didn't fear death as much as the process of dying. Would it be painful? Would he be remembered? We assured Kobe we keep his memory alive and continue speaking his name. On October 11, 2016, God called Kobe home. Kobe, you live on in our hearts. We will always speak your name. You know, noted writer, author Brooks compares us to a grove of aspen trees with a single root system. That's you too, Brooks writes. You're not a tree. You're part of a vast root system, and you need to cultivate your system. Not just look out for your tree. I stand here thanks to my root system, my wife, family, and friends, teammates, my football brothers, the University of Notre Dame and the 49ers, coaches who saw potential and honed it, doctors, trainers, spiritual mentors, and our church and school community. And above all, a gracious God. I'll close with some lessons I've learned along the way. From my pain, I found purpose. Letting someone grab my hand is as important as reaching for theirs. In an isolated world, personal connections matter more than ever. I keep my gaze on Christ and pour myself into good works, including the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. And I've learned to trust God's plan and timing, not mine. In this, my 10th year of eligibility, I entered the hall as a member of its 22. It was Kobe's favorite number. Thank you.
Now we all know Kobe.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't know how he got through that. My goodness. And we also know Bryant Young's appreciation for the moment. We saw Steve Young there in support. Like Jerry Rice and Steve Young were to the offense, Bryant Young was to the defense.
It's amazing. One of the things that the only thing he could say about his teammates was, I never wanted to let you down. That was the only thing. That's a man of character right there. What a great story. I hope a lot of people were able to listen to that speech in its entirety. And if you missed it, find it. You'll want to hear it.
Yeah, he choked up when he said that too. Still to come, we're going to stay in the Bay. Raiders great.